Introduction to Copilot Studio component collections. My name is David, work with Quisitive, work in the community, love to do YouTubes, and work with all of you. So reach out on LinkedIn if you'd like to connect. Would love to connect. Let's take a look at what our agenda is for today. So we're going to look at the problems that collections solve within Copilot Studio. We're going to see a little bit of a comparison because a lot of us have been in the realm of either an SPFX library component or a Power Apps component library. And so we may think, oh, okay, yeah, this is probably aligned with that. So let's take a look and see how it compares to Copilot. We're going to see an overview of collections, and then we're going to see a component collection demo. So we've got lots in store for us, okay? So let's go ahead and, oh, sorry, hold on. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm getting a call. It looks like my boss is calling. Give me just one sec. Hey, boss man. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you've been dealing with Copilot lately, and you're seeing a whole bunch of inconsistencies between things like topics and stuff like that. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, okay, yeah, I get it. So you're seeing a lot of references to names of internal things or questions asked similarly but not consistently, calling our different processes and procedures different names or maybe inconsistent acronyms, all that kind of stuff. And that's a problem, right? Because it creates confusion. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, okay, I get it. Hey, by the way, why do you keep dressing up as a pilot? You're right. It isn't my business. So maybe I'll go another time. Okay. Call me back in a few minutes and I will have an answer for you. Okay. So everybody, what is the problem that the boss man is talking about, right? The problem is that we're rebuilding the same logic over and over. And in many cases, the problem is that they're inconsistent. So as Bossman had mentioned, and I transcribed for you, we're seeing a whole bunch of inconsistencies between those same logics. So it might be referencing some of those procedure names or policies internally, or maybe even departments, and they're being used as acronyms here or full names there. Or maybe certain questions are being asked within topics, and they're being inconsistently asked, and we want to provide consistency. So the problem is that they're all handled individually. So for example, let's say we've got an HR agent. And that's going to use a contact topic that's maybe going to ask for follow-up information, username or name, phone number or email address, or what's the problem or something like that, right? Well, then guess what? The IT agent may need to do the same thing, but it's going to ask it a little bit differently. And then guess what? The finance agent wants to know the same information, and it is going to be potentially inconsistent. And these are all handled as you can see, in siloed scenarios. And so it's going to be a problem for those that are looking for that consistency across the organization. Some may not know the acronyms yet, or they might be brand new. And so you want to provide consistency. So then a component collection within Copilot Studio can help that. But what is a component collection? Well, it is simply a reusable package of Copilot components shared across agents, but it's done a little bit differently, right? It's set up a little bit differently. So if you have worked with SharePoint Framework, SPFX, and built a library component, then you might be familiar with how that works, right? So let's take a look at some just quick high-level comparisons. So within SPFX, you're going to create a library component, and then you're going to add functionality to that library component. Maybe it's just a bunch of built-in functions. Maybe it's doing something else. And then your web part is going to import that SPFX library component and use its functionality, right? So we kind of create that library component first, add whatever functionality to it we want, and then the web parts or extensions or other SPFX solutions can consume that functionality. Now with Power Apps, same kind of scenario. We're going to go in and we're going to create a Power Apps component library. And then within that component library, we are going to create components. And that may be headless kind of functions or functions that are going to go do some sort of work. Maybe it's got a UI piece to it. All of those are possible. But the key is that we start with the Power App component library. And then once that functionality has been built into the component library, well, we go and import it into our Power App and we use it there. It's a little bit different with Copilot Studio because in the end, and we'll see a more in-depth version of this, but what happens is you have to create your component first. So for example, if we want to create a reusable topic, we have to go create the agent, add the topic, and then it gets added to the component collection. We're not going to create the component collection And then within the component collection, create the topic or other component or Copilot Studio asset. We're going to start with our agents and our assets like our topics or our triggers or whatever else we're going to utilize. And then once that's created inside the agent, the component collection can import the agent as well as the individual item, and it kind of extracts it from the agent. We'll see what that looks like, right? So it kind of is confusing. It's kind of backwards. It kind of makes you start going, well, wait a second. Is this the chicken versus the egg syndrome, right? Scenario, trying to figure out which came first, the chicken or the egg. It is a little bit backwards from how we're used to seeing things, but that's okay. So let's take a little bit look at a demystification of it. Again, just a little bit more of a flow. So we would start with something like an HR agent. We'll see an example of that. Then you're going to create a contact topic. That's going to live within your agent. Of course, at that point, it is only within your agent. It is not available to other agents. It's living only within your HR agent. Then you're going to add that agent and its topic to a component collection. Now, you can create a component collection before you create your agent, but you don't create anything in the actual component collection. It's just sort of like an empty bag or box that's ready to have something added to it. That's really the most you can do, and I'll show you that. And then once the component collection is created and the original agent and its assets, such as a topic, have been added or created, excuse me, you can add it to the component collection, and then that makes it available to all your other agents. Okay, so I know it's a little backwards, a little confusing compared to what it is that we typically would do if you're used to Power Apps or SPFX. So let's take a look and see how we can set this up. Now, this is going to be a very introductory view of this. We'll be back, or I'll be back in future sessions. We're going to make a series out of it because there's a lot of little moving parts that you can take advantage of that aren't necessarily obvious. So we're going to start with the basics. We're just going to simply begin with, hey, where do you find these things? Okay, so here we are at Copilot Studio, very basic beginning. What I'm going to show you is how you can start out by finding the component collection area. And there's a couple of different ways you can do that. The first is coming off of our little ellipses right there. Now, you may be aware of that. If not, you just simply click that, and you'll see that there is a component collections option to click there. Now, when you go here, it gives you the opportunity to create a component collection. So that's what we're going to do when this loads. We're going to create one. But remember, it's not going to include anything. It's really just creating a sort of empty house, empty box, empty bag for us to start putting components and agents into later. So I'm going to just set it up to have it ready for us. Now, there's another way that you can create it, and I will show that to you. But this is probably the easiest and quickest. So I'm going to click Create New, and we're going to give it a name. So I'm just going to call it the Bossman Toolkit. Okay, and we're going to give it a description, and you associate it to a solution. So I've pre-set up a solution here for us to utilize called component collections. And this is just compartmentalizing all of our component collections, and the agents and the components that will be part of it will be inside of a solution, so it can migrate from environment to environment with ease. And again, that'll be a future video that we'll take a look at. So I'm going to click Finish, and it's going to create it. And really, in the end, it's, again, nothing special. It's really just kind of like a container that is sitting there waiting and ready for me to populate. So sometimes it takes a little bit of a second, and once it does, we're going to see what that page looks like. So here we are. We've got our Bossman Toolkit. It gives us a little information here, says details. We can edit if we want to change our name, where the solution is located. And then we see a few other things. We see connected agents. So we're going to come back to this because there's another way in which you can add these, which will take you back to this exact same page. It's just a different path down the yellow brick road, if you will, that allows you to get here. And then once you connect an agent, you would select the components from that agent to be available to it, and or more agents. Okay, so now what we've done is we've created the shell, the bag, the box, the container for our component collection. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my agents panel, and I've already pre-set up a couple of agents because, again, for time purposes, we want to be efficient. So I've got an HR agent here. And this HR agent is nothing special. I've got an icon, a name. I've got some simple instructions for it. And more importantly, I've got no topics additional beyond our simply our out-of-the-box topics, right? So this is sort of a basic, normal agent that's really been set up with no even knowledge, just simply some instructions, okay? Now I've also got an IT agent, which is primarily fulfilling some of the same roles, right? So it's also got instructions, it's using a model, it's got a name and a description. And when I go to its topics, we see that I've got a custom topic that I've created. This one is called follow up. So when we go into this topic, the intent of a topic, if you're unfamiliar, is to be able to guide the user if they say they need help with a certain scenario. And you can define exactly how that works. Again, this is not an instruction on how to create topics. There are other videos for that. But if you're unfamiliar, it essentially allows you to provide guidance and kind of walk your users down a specific path. So in this case, we're letting the agent choose when this topic will be triggered. And it's looking for things like, hey, I need requests to follow up, schedule a follow-up. Can you please have someone contact me? And then what it's going to do is it's going to ask for name and email and phone. And then it's going to give a message for thanking you, ask you what you really need, and then just a little adaptive card. Right. So if we test this just to make sure it's working, I'll say, can I have someone follow up? Now, what it's going to do is it's going to go through, it's going to initiate my topic. We see that here, right? It's looking for those phrases, which it found, and it's going to ask me my name, David. It's going to ask me my email address, david@warner.digital. It's going to ask me my phone. We'll just give it a number, right? 555-555. And then it's going to ask me the question. I need to know how to hide from the boss man, right? Man, I would have spelt it right. Okay, so then it gives it to me in a, it gives me, well, and then there's an error, so that's okay. But the point is it worked, right? Gave me the result that I was looking for. Some little error, that happens. It looks like there was a responsible AI restriction, maybe because the boss man was misspelled. I don't know. But the point is that our topic is here. Now, it's not in HR agent, right? But we would like to make it available to HR agent by adding this topic to the component collection. So how can we do that? Well, we can certainly go back to our component collections by clicking on the ellipsis here. But another way to do that directly from the agent is by going into the settings for the agent right here. So when we click on settings, it gives us access to component collections here. And when we do that, it's not necessarily the component collections that are just associated to this particular agent. When I click on it, what it does is it shows me the installed, meaning that what has been associated to this agent, and then also available. So if I've already created one, which I did and you saw me do, I don't need to create one. I could create one from this space, and that's fine if I've not created one yet. But if I pre-created it like I did with you, then I can simply click on available and go, okay, there's the one that I want to associate my components, or in this case, my topic with. So I'm going to click on Boss Man Toolkit, and it essentially takes me back to that particular component collection as if I had gone there by way of right here. Right, so it's again same destination, just a different path. We're going kind of around within through the agent this way. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the agent. Okay, I'm going to add the agent, and what it does is it allows me to choose the agent that I want to actually have part of this component collection. So again, just to confirm, I go back to agents. I go to my IT agent. Confirm, yep, follow up, there we go, right? So that's the one that I want. So I'm going back to my boss man, clicking add agent. I'm going to click IT agent. I'm going to click add. And then what it's going to do is it's simply going to have added the agent to my component collection. Now, I've not added any actual components yet. I've just simply added the agent. So now the next step is I need to add from the agent, right? I need to select some sort of asset from my agent. So you kind of see where the background comes, right? Or the backwards feeling. We created the component library or the component collection, but that's not where we are actually creating our assets. We created it in the agent first. So now I'm going to click add from agent. I'm going to click my IT agent because that's the only one that I've associated so far. I'm going to click next, and we can see here are the various components that I can choose from. Now, there's a whole bunch here, obviously many of which are created out of the box. Follow up is the one that I'm looking for. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to click next. I'm going to review the components being moved to the collection. So notice the keyword there, being moved to the collection, right? So now the collection is more or less taking responsibility in importing the topic, in this case, into the collection. It will still be part of my agent, but it will no longer necessarily belong to the agent. And so I'm going to click Add to Collection. And once it does that, it's going to add it to my collection, and we'll see it listed here. Okay, and there you go. So now I see the follow-up. It's part of this particular component collection. Now I can go back to my agent and identify whether or not that particular topic has been added. So of course I could click agents over here if I wanted to, but by the way, this is a clickable entity there too in the connected agent. So just a little bit of a shortcut, right? I can click on that and that takes me back directly to the agent that was associated. And when I go to topics, I still see that there, right? Follow-up is part of it. And now I see this little icon right here. And when I hover over that, it says this component is coming from a component collection, right? So it's still part of my agent, but now it's belonging to that component collection. So what is the benefit that that gives me? Well, I had created it here in this agent, right? This is where I created it. But now if I go back to my component collection, I'm going to go back to the Bossman Toolkit. We know for a fact that that topic was not part of my HR agent, right? So if I go back into my HR agent, go back to topics again, no trick up this sleeve, no trick up this sleeve. Simply, if I were to come in here and say, can you please follow up with me? It's not going to ask all the same things that it should have been asking as part of my original topic, right? When we see that, it's just simply saying, hey, not really configured for that. Is there anything else I can help you with? So now what I want to do is I want to associate this agent with my component collection. So I'm going to go back to component collections. I'm going to go to available. I'm going to click on Bossman Toolkit, and I'm going to click Add Agent. It now shows me the HR agent is available. I'm going to click Add. And when I do that, it is going to add my HR agent right here. Now, just by way of doing that, my follow-up topic is now going to be included in my HR agent. So I could go back to my agents here, again, if I wanted to, and click on HR agent, or I could have clicked on it within the component collection menu or sidebar like I showed you, and I click topic, and there you go. I never came into this and added it, but by way of me adding this particular agent to the component collection, it automatically inherited. And now any changes that I make to follow up will be inherited by both agents, so providing that level of consistency, right? Now, there is one more thing I will show you just to kind of show that it is belonging to the component collection. If I go back to the component collection and I go into the Bossman Toolkit and I disconnect the IT agent. Now remember, the IT agent was the original agent that built it, created it. This just showcases how it is belonging now to the component collection. I can disconnect from the agent, so I'll click disconnect from agent. It will remain in the HR agent. So we see here, there we go, it's been removed, HR agent, the follow-up is still here. I'll go back to my agents, I'll go into HR agent, go to topics, we see the follow-up is still there, right? Good to go. Now, if I go back to my agent for IT agent and go to topics, it's still showing up. Sometimes it ghosts, right? So I'm just going to do a kind of hard refresh here. And once I do that, you're going to see that it's gone. It's gone, right? So it truly does now belong to the actual component collection here within our component collections. And of course, I could then come back in, and if I wanted to, I could add that IT agent back and then remove it from the HR agent. So again, here, if I do that, go straight to IT agent, go to topics, and bam, there it is. Just show a quick refresh to prove that, again, nothing's hiding and it's back, right? So this is a very, very, very basic example of just introducing you to kind of the piping, if you will, the interconnections of a component collection, how you can start utilizing it. There's a lot more that you can do with it, but hopefully this starts showcasing you the scalability that you can take advantage of and really take the ability to provide that consistency between some of your components and some of your tools within there, okay? So that wraps up the demo. Oh, hold on. Bossman, right on time. Bossman, you're happy. Did you see the solution that I gave you? Yeah, did you see that? Yes, absolutely. I'm so glad you're happy. So we're going to start utilizing component collections, make everything consistent. You got it. No problem at all. No, I'm not going to call you Maverick from here on out, and you may not call me Goose. Absolutely not. Yeah, okay. I'll see you later too, buddy. Take care. Okay, so what's next coming up in this series? We are going to talk about some dependencies because there is a dependency chain that you want to be aware of. There's also something called primary agent. This is a good example of creating some exclusivity and more. And you can also get the information about your component collections available at our at the documentation within Microsoft, and I'm working with Vesta to get that AKA set up as a quick, easy shortcut URL to the Learn documentation, so you'll be able to take care of that here soon as well. Okay, so thank you all, and that is all for my demo.